As part of a live reality show challenge, I lost and had to put on noise-cancelling headphones to guess my partner's lip sync, then make a random phone call from my contacts. My ex picked up and immediately quipped, "Weren't you supposed to call me only after I'm dead? How does the afterlife even have a signal?" I shot back, "You're fast." On the other end, he retorted, "I'm fast." "Then you shouldn't have cried back then." The comments on the live streaming rolled in. "That voice sounds way too familiar, haha. It's really like my sarcastic ex, haha. That voice sounds like my favorite actor. Weren't they arch enemies? Like the kind who'd spit at each other if they ran into each other at an event." My partner looked shocked, but thinking I was still basking in the pride of correctly guessing the lip sync, I blurted out, "I'm your daddy." The viewers went wild after watching the playback, and so did I. Later, a top actor grabbed my hand and held a stopwatch, his voice laced with danger. "How long counts as fast?" "My name is Chloe West, and I'm on a lifestyle live reality show. Besides me, there are 2 singers and an actor as guests. The dare loser has to make a random call from their contacts." I held my phone, hesitating slightly. After all, it's a live broadcast, and what if I call someone who says something inappropriate, like about having children or divorce? I'd never survive in the entertainment industry after this. Seeing my hesitation, rival actress Jessica Frost crossed her arms and sneered, "Chloe, don't tell me you're scared to play." "Me, scared to play?" I snorted, handed her the phone, and put on the headphones. No woman likes to admit defeat. Jessica dialed a number in front of the camera. I glanced at the contact name, only catching 2 letters. She mouthed, "I miss you." I wasn't entirely sure if that's what she said since I had noise-cancelling headphones on. With music blasting in my ears, I couldn't hear the person on the other end, only Jessica's expressions as she stifled her laughter. A smooth male voice came through the phone, "You miss me? More like you want me dead. Weren't you the one who said you'd only call me from the afterlife? Should I send you some just money? But not too much, lest you cast another curse." Jessica cleared her throat and mouthed, "Which ex?" The phrase was a bit unclear, so she repeated it. I took my time and carefully deciphered before slowly saying, "Which ex?" There was a pause on the other end, followed by a cold chuckle, "Which one? Miss West has 6 exes in total, and I just happen to be the longest. Is it because you're getting old and forgetting?" The previously quiet comments section instantly exploded. Some people dated 6 while still young, and here I am, 24 years old, just laughing with my teeth out. This voice sounds way too familiar. Yeah, it kinda sounds like Alex Stone, but that's impossible, they are supposed to be sworn enemies. They ran into each other at a gala last month and spat insults at each other. Jessica's pupils dilated, but I could see the excitement and thrill in her eyes. I nodded, slightly raising my chin, proudly signaling her to continue. "I've never lost a game like this." Jessica straightened up and mouthed, "You're stupid." I missed the shocked expressions of the other 2 guests behind her. My entire focus was on her lip movements, and with full confidence, I slapped my thigh and shouted, "You're short." There was a longer silence on the phone this time. Then came his voice, biting and cold, "Short? I'm 6 feet 2 inches. If I'm short, then what about your other exes? Short as potatoes, pumpkins, kinda surprise egg." The comments were trembling. This verbal attack power, I'm reminded of, really like the usual foul-mouthed Alex Stone, haha. "Go away, Chloe. Chloe, don't ride on Alex's coattails." If they were exes, it wouldn't be surprising they'd argue like that. After all, exes are like prior offenses. Jessica frantically shook her head, mouthing again, "You're stupid." Without thinking, I blurted out, "You're fast." Jessica and the other 2 guests buried their heads, stifling laughter. This time, the man responded quickly, his voice light but sharp, "I'm fast." "Then you shouldn't have cried back then." Jessica's eyes widened, terrified he might say something else inappropriate that would drive the live stream wild. She signaled to me with goodbye, hang up, and the man on the other end of the phone said, "Chloe, you must be drunk." His voice sounded resigned and helpless. "Only when you're drunk and randomly cursing people do you call me." Of course, I couldn't hear what he said, so I was only focused on Jessica's lips, angrily slamming the table to Jessica, "I'm your daddy." Jessica swiftly pressed the end call button, her mouth twitching, "I'm pissed, calling her dad isn't happening." The comments were already losing it. Her ex was pouring his heart out. "She's here chanting nonsense. Can we get details on how fast? I have a friend who wants to know." "Chloe, you've got me laughing. She's the epitome of an undefeated woman." Jessica handed my phone back, with an added good luck look. My gaze fell on the contact labeled AS, and I was silent for a long time before forcing a smile and squeezing out, "Haha." The internet blew up. Hashtag finding the ex called AS hashtag exes hashtag you're the fastest hashtag Alex Stone hashtag. After watching the live stream playback, I was fuming too. This was like being caught with my pants down in public. What was worse was that Alex Stone, out of the blue, posted a status. "First time receiving a call from the afterlife. With an ex like me, who's the real prior offender?" The hype reached its peak. My manager and I both let out a piercing scream. He was obviously hinting that he was the ex. When we broke up, we agreed this relationship would go to the grave. I turned sharply to my manager, confused, "What's your plan?" He beamed, "We can't let this buzz go to waste." And then he bundled me off into a dating show. Coincidentally, Jessica was there too. We've been at odds since our debuts, with our fans in constant battles, and would occasionally take jabs at each other too. I mocked her for overly edited photos, and she teased me for wearing hair extensions. Jessica covered her mouth and smiled. Oh dear, Chloe didn't get enough rest. I stared at her and smiled. You've got caked foundation. Her face dropped, and she hurriedly retreated. A solid one-shot KO, and I won big. When Jessica came back, reapplying her makeup, most of the other guests had arrived. Besides me and Jessica, there was singer Ruby Moore, who looked sweet and cute. The male guests were actor Aaron White and a newcomer, John Steele. The show's confidentiality measures were pretty strict. I didn't know who the guests were until the recording started. Jessica puzzled and asked, aren't we missing someone? The host smiled. We've invited a special guest this time, and he is. He pointed to the van parked a short distance away. My eyelid twitched, and a bad feeling rose in my heart. The car door opened, revealing a pair of long legs wrapped in tailored suit pants. The man had sharp features and gold-rimmed glasses perched on his nose, looking every bit like a charming rogue. My eyes darkened as memories of him leaning down, his breath mingling with mine, his voice hoarse and intoxicating. Babe, help me take off my glasses. I suddenly felt a tightness in my throat, and lifting my hand to take a sip of water, narrowly avoiding Alex's gaze. Alex and I were together for 3 years. When we first entered the industry, we lived in a tiny apartment, barely scraping by after paying rent. The occasional midnight oyster splurge was our luxury. It was tough, but we were happy. Later, our careers started picking up, and we got busy, barely seeing each other. His company pushed for a showman's, marketing him all over. The day he had a scandal with a gorgeous actress, without a plane ticket, he took a train overnight just to hold me tightly. He still carried the chill of the night air and said, I won't agree to a showman's, you have to trust me, I'll sort this out. I gently patted his head and said, I trust you. Seeing those headlines was tough, but when Alex came running back to me, all the negativity melted away, replaced by a sense of sweetness. But he got busier, and we barely saw each other. Even the rare phone calls ended abruptly, with promises to talk next time. One day, I fell from a harness and ended up in the hospital. I shakily called him, Alex, it hurts. The word hurts had barely left my mouth when he hung up, sounding irritated. I stared at his profile picture for a long, long time. Then I got a text, Miss West, being with Alex does him no favors. Attached was a picture of Alex holding hands with a popular actress, his gaze tender. Alex's supporting role in a drama skyrocketed him to fame, and he excitedly told me, Chloe, we made it. I coldly said, Alex, let's break up. Come to think of it, there's nothing particularly likable about you. I admit my words were hurtful. Alex, like me, is proud and stubborn. A program director once tried to take advantage of him, and he picked up a bottle, sneering, let's see who ends up worse. The program director threatened to blacklist him unless he apologized, offering to make him famous if he did. Alex, fueled by sheer grit, clawed his way to success. But he broke character, pleading with me to take him back. He looked like he'd been crying for ages, eyes red-rimmed, please, don't leave me, I can't live without you. I didn't look back, just laughed, Alex, I've fallen for someone else. This is the end. To make sure he wouldn't hold on, I went through 4 boyfriends in quick succession, all of them the sweet, clingy type. He became a star, winning Best Actor, while I lit a cigarette, exhaling slowly, flicking off the ash, thinking, no one is indispensable. We all move on. I wasn't just an extra anymore, I was the industry's rising star. In an interview, when asked about me, Alex Stone responded with a calm expression, Chloe West. Her acting is nothing special. I don't want to work with her. When the reporter pressed for a reason, he smirked at the camera, do you need a reason to dislike someone? Not long after, Alex and I were invited to the same awards ceremony. I won Best Supporting Actress, and he was assigned to present the award. The host asked me if having the Best Actor present to me felt great. I thought for a moment, then chuckled, it's nothing special. His face instantly darkened as he gritted his teeth, do you think I wanted to present to you? And just like that, the entire internet knew we despised each other. Whenever we crossed paths at other events, he kept his distance. If avoiding each other wasn't possible, it usually ended in a few barbed exchanges. As for the rumor about us spitting at each other at a gala, it was just because a friend was gossiping about industry drama while I was drinking water, and I spat it out in shock. Alex just happened to walk by, glanced at me, and scoffed, Miss West, spreading water everywhere, preparing for spring cleaning. I rolled my eyes, yeah, and I'll sweep you out. Our eyes locked, sparks flying. This interaction was captured perfectly by a photographer and uploaded online, putting the Alex Stone and Chloe West don't get along rumors to rest. Miss West. Ruby Moore called my name a few times before I snapped out of it. Alex had finished his introduction, and everyone was staring at me. I looked up, bewildered, realizing I should be clapping now. Jessica Frost covered her mouth, laughing, and cast a meaningful look at Alex. Could it be that someone is here, and that's why Miss West is so distracted? Alex didn't respond, but his eyes, framed by gold-rimmed glasses, stared intently at me. This was a live dating show, and right in front of me was a massive LED screen showing the scrolling live comments. Do you think the show arranged for them to reconcile? Chloe, stop trying to latch onto my man. If those two ever get back together, I'll wash my hair upside down. Chloe isn't good enough for Alex. Yeah, right, only your idol deserves him. That'll be the day. I smiled sweetly and said, none of your business, darling. Alex hadn't expected me to curse him on live TV, his smile faltered. The other guests quickly stepped in to ease the tension, Chloe's just joking. So, what should we be doing now? They frantically signaled the host. Now we'll draw lots and form teams for the challenges, the host announced, clearing his throat, then suddenly turned to Alex. We've heard Mr. Stone excels at a certain sport. Jessica and the audience were silent for a second before erupting. Host, are you crazy? Tell us more, we are here for the drama. Alex adjusted his glasses, maintaining a composed demeanor. I once knocked out a boxer in under 5 minutes. Want to try breaking my record? The host shrank back. Ha ha, maybe not. I couldn't help but laugh. No one but me could hold their own against Alex's sharp tongue, but soon enough, I wasn't laughing anymore. When the teams were drawn, I ended up paired with Alex. He held up his draw ball, showing it matched mine. I asked flatly, can we switch? The host smiled and declined. Alex walked over, his gaze dark. Do you really hate being on my team that much? His voice was soft, yet it made my heart tighten. I pursed my lips, turning my head with a scoff. Just don't drag us down. Hearing that, Alex's smile was charming, almost disarming. What are you grinning at? I snapped, pretending to be annoyed, and shifted my gaze just in time to catch the comments. What are they whispering about? Why does Alex look so smug? As a top strategist, I can confirm Alex definitely still likes Chloe. That look in his eyes like he wants to devour her whole. My ears reddened as old, improper memories surfaced. The 6 guests were split into 3 teams, each drawing lots to determine their challenge. Refusing to complete a challenge would result in a penalty. Alex drew the haunted house challenge, looking rather relaxed. Better than bungee jumping, I suppose. I stared at him for a while. Taking the penalty wouldn't be the worst thing. Alex paused, then chuckled softly, covering his mic as he leaned in close to my ear, his tone teasing. Chloe, you still like me. He sounded sure of himself. Alex and I first met on a film set. I was playing a corpse, and he was slightly better off with a few lines. I had been working as an extra for half a month by then, perfecting my role as a corpse. He accidentally stepped on me, but I didn't react, not even a twitch of the eyebrow. He stepped back, shouting in horror, "Whoa, director, did you get a real corpse?" I suddenly sat up, my voice sinister. "Hey handsome, come play with me down here." My face was covered in creepy makeup, scaring him so badly that he fell to the ground. He's terrified of ghosts. After we got together, someone suggested he should watch a horror movie, and for the entire 2-hour film, he alternated between passing out and waking up. I couldn't help but laugh. Maybe we should leave. Alex clung to my hand, intertwining our fingers, and whispered, "This way, I won't be scared." He was still scared to death, and after we left, I teased him. But that night, he got his revenge, his long, cool fingers grabbing my ankle, trailing upward, his right hand brushing away my tears, biting at my collarbone. "Chloe, don't cry." His voice broke, sounding like a malfunctioning music box, fragmented and uneven. My heart skipped a beat, and I pushed him away, trying to stay composed. What's with the closeness? Just talk, no need to be so close. He smiled, no need to skip the haunted house, I'm not afraid. Since he insisted, of course, I wouldn't refuse. The crew drove us to the location, and we were blindfolded, the darkness surrounding us. A staff member placed my hand in his, and he immediately squeezed it. I could feel his palm sweating and thought, he's scared already. Alex, who could talk his way out of anything, but what I was thinking was, fine, I'll be generous and protect him this time. As the storyline played over the speakers, I pulled off my blindfold and, in the dim light, could just about make out the path ahead. I guided his hand to my shirt's hem, saying coolly, "Just follow me, and don't get lost." I couldn't see his expression, but his voice was delighted. "Sure, Chloe." My heart skipped a beat. Is he crazy? This was a live broadcast, and he was still seat up. Like sensing my thoughts, he casually added, "Oops, my bad, I misspoke. I'll be more careful next time." I ignored him and walked straight ahead. A haunted house was no big deal for me. Alex quickly understood his role, a pretty but useless accessory, never straying far from my side, praising me with every step. "Miss West, you're amazing. Truly impressive." His sweet talking was relentless. "Miss West, I'm swooning. Like a peacock showing off." I rolled my eyes, sneering, "Did a ghost possess you? Why aren't you mocking me?" He just chuckled softly. He's so shameless. I was about to say something when a commotion broke out in the hallway, screams from a wildly gesturing actor. Before I could react, Alex wrapped an arm around my waist and pulled me into a nearby closet. The space was cramped, and I was pressed tightly against him, his warm breath grazing my neck, making my body tense. "You stay here, I'll find somewhere else." He clutched my wrist firmly, sounding almost pleading. "No, I'm scared on my own." Then he added, "If you go out now, you'll definitely get caught by the NPC." Hearing that, I stuck to the wall, not moving. Getting caught meant elimination, and that wasn't an option. The NPC approached, banging on the closet door with eerie sound effects. The whole closet shook, and feeling Alex's grip tighten on my hand, I squeezed his back reassuringly. But the next second, he suddenly leaned down, and his kiss caught me off guard, leaving me too stunned to resist, the heat lingering. In the darkness, his breath came in ragged gasps, his voice thick with desire. "It's me who likes you, Chloe. Let's get back together, I've been losing my mind missing you." I was nearly losing my mind, too, stumbling out of the haunted house with my legs unsteady. I've never been able to resist his face and voice, not before and not now. When I finally saw the staff's grinning faces, I belatedly realized what had happened, glaring at him fiercely. "Did you turn off your mic?" He nodded. I turned it off. I covered my face, great, but I didn't. I never expected this idiot to suddenly confess and ask to get back together. Peeking through my fingers at the live comments, the stream was, predictably, blowing up like fireworks on New Year's Eve. Ah? Nothing new here, just heard I like you for the 100th time. Chloe and Alex back together, don't make me beg. Chloe, he's tricking you, he's not scared of ghosts anymore. Cunning Alex, run, Chloe. I zoomed in on one specific comment. Smiling dangerously, I said, faking it. You think it's fun to trick me? His Adam's apple bobbed, his eyes behind the glasses blinking, the fear was fake, but liking you is real. The other teams finished their challenges, and we regrouped at the villa. The host held a card, the best way to win a woman's heart is through her stomach. Tonight's dinner depends on how well the gentlemen can show off their cooking skills to impress their partners. After dinner, each participant could send a message to the person who caught their eye. If two people expressed mutual interest, they'd get priority in choosing their next team. First to the kitchen, Aaron White rolled up his sleeves, I'm great at cooking. John Steele and Alex followed right after. Alex casually undid the top button of his shirt, saying, I have to put on a good show. John just shrugged, I'm good with anything. Ruby, paired with John, seemed to be getting along well, blushing as she helped him tie on an apron. Alex looked on enviously before turning his gaze away. Pretending not to notice, I leaned down and popped a piece of fruit into my mouth, sweet. Jessica sashayed over, an apron in hand, sidling up to Alex, Alex, let me tie your apron for you. I couldn't help but glance over, just in time to catch his challenging look. HMPH. I immediately grabbed an apron and offered it to Aaron, who hadn't even spoken before Alex swooped in, practically teleporting, and bent down to slip into the apron, smirking, thanks, Chloe. Jessica's eye twitched, unable to take any more. The comment section saw Alex's shameless behavior, and was in turmoil. Aaron's eyes welled up, so, love really does fade, doesn't it? In less than an hour, all the dishes were served. Among them were two of my favorites, braised pork belly and coconut chicken. I didn't need to guess, I knew they were Alex Stone's doing. Even after 2 years apart, he still remembered my taste, just as I remembered he was afraid of ghosts. Alex carefully asked, I'm not sure if you still like these. He was testing the waters. I looked down and replied, people's tastes change. His lips tightened into a straight line, and he nodded, looking dejected. When it was time to send the secret, crushed text that night, I hesitated for a long time over Alex's profile picture. The program director reminded me that the texts were anonymous. Really? I lowered my head and typed furiously, Dear, I went to see the doctor today, and he said I need more vitamin U. I was shocked because you are my one and I only want you. I hit send, watching the program director's bemused expression, and shrugged innocently, you didn't say I couldn't send it to a girl. I soon received a message in return. Jessica Frost told me to get lost, and the other was from Alex, Chloe, I have the rest of my life to wait for you. I tossed and turned all night, unable to sleep, my thoughts consumed by him. Just when I felt impulsive enough to confess everything, I couldn't find Alex in the villa the next morning. The host sighed and announced regretfully that Alex Stone had to leave due to a scheduling conflict, and a new guest would replace him later in the day. The screen was flooded with disappointed comments. Is my Chloe and Alex ship going down? Was it because Chloe didn't pick him last night? Dude, you can't be so quick to give up if you want a girlfriend. Forget it, it's probably just a publicity stunt. Typical showbiz tactics. I stayed silent for a long time. Jessica crossed her arms and nudged me with her elbow, her tone dripping with sarcasm, heartbroken. I playfully hooked my arm around her shoulder and said, didn't I send my text to you, darling? She shuddered in mock disgust, get lost. The new male guest was young and full of energy, a golden retriever type, who had already charmed everyone in just half an hour. Jessica was delighted. But I couldn't muster any enthusiasm. Whether in the past or now, Alex's ability to pull at my heartstrings had only grown stronger. To help everyone bond, the show organized a talent night where each participant had to perform. The host smiled mysteriously, tonight, we have a special guest joining us. Everyone's been asking, but he's kept quiet about it. Jessica taunted me, Chloe, just you wait. I've prepared a hot dance, so you're definitely going to lose. I laughed, did you forget how you cried like a baby last time? Jessica and I had both debuted on a competitive reality show, and we later faced off again in a dance-off on another show. She confidently bet that the loser would have to shout 3 times, I'm a pig. I won by a narrow margin, and she blushed furiously in front of hundreds of audience members, shouting the phrase 3 times before bursting into tears backstage. Chloe is the pig, her whole family is pigs. She is the only pig. As I passed by, I couldn't help but taunt her with a few mocking oinks. So when a chance to battle presents itself, she never misses it, always trying to outshine me. This time was no exception. I danced to a troublemaker, and the show even arranged a dance partner for me. He clearly didn't want to be on camera, wearing a mask that covered his face. Tall and lean in a black trench coat, with broad shoulders, and a narrow waist, he exuded a restrained yet alluring aura. When he moved his hips, his hand hovered over my waist, not quite touching my skin, just warm enough for me to sense his presence. I smirked slightly, then turned abruptly, lightly knocking my fist against his chest. Our hearts pounded like drums, and I couldn't tell whose heartbeat was louder, probably both. Just as he tried to take my hand, I spun away, leaving him hanging, teasing him to the extreme. This mysterious guest wasn't so mysterious, and judging by the audience's knowing looks and the live comments, everyone was in on the secret. Guess my ship didn't sink after all. Thanks, Chloe, for letting me see the sexy side of Alex. Judging by appearance, quite impressive. Hey, this is the comment section, not a free-for-all. The host seemed perplexed. Why doesn't anyone look surprised? Aaron White waggled his eyebrows. He's definitely here for someone. Ruby Moore chimed in. I say, Mr. Stone's got it tough. Why not let them have a chat alone? Alex took off his mask, beads of sweat on his brow, and calmly took my hand. Thanks, everyone, he said, and without further delay, hurried me backstage as if he were racing against time. Chloe, leaving suddenly wasn't some fleeting impulse. I came straight from set as soon as I finished shooting, he explained. He mentioned his schedule was tight, and that he could only sign a one-episode contract with the show just to see me. I blinked. You could have said that on WhatsApp. He looked at me pitifully. You blocked me. I was silent, and he fidgeted, ears red with embarrassment. Even if you like someone else, I won't give up chasing you. I stared at him for a long moment. Alex, you once said you'd never get back to me. After our breakup, he had called me several times, drunk and asking, do you really not want me anymore? Chloe, I won't look back unless you coax me. Chloe West, even if you begged on your knees for us to get back together, I wouldn't do it. Plenty of people want to date me, don't regret it. Alex seemed to remember, muttering, if I keep my pride any longer, I'll end up with no girlfriend at all. Just then, his assistant came over to remind him it was time to leave. Reluctantly, he let go of my hand. Chloe, I need to get back on schedule. I raised an eyebrow, incredulous. Did you really rush over just to explain why you left suddenly? He nodded, then asked, a little smugly, is there anything you want to say to me? I shook my head quickly, and his expression dimmed. Suddenly, I rose on my toes and kissed him on the side of his lips, his seductive eyes widening in surprise. As I started to pull away, he held me tightly by the waist, deepening the kiss. His voice was hoarse. Chloe, are we back together? I whispered a soft yes. The truth is, Alex and I are very much alike. Neither of us likes to apologize or admit fault. During the time we were together, we constantly argued, his issues, my issues, it was both of us, but no one wanted to back down. After being apart for a while, we'd act like nothing happened when we met again, but pretending nothing happened doesn't mean the rift was gone, right? Our breakup wasn't just because of that one text, it was due to problems within us. After Alex left, Jessica smirked at me, eyeing my mouth. Wow, that looked intense. I raised a finger to tilt her chin, leaning in playfully. What's your relationship with Alex? She flustered, glancing away. Nothing at all. I snickered. Hey girl. Whenever Alex and I were together, Jessica always acted out toward me, but I never saw her have any other interactions with Alex. I was starting to put two and two together. You made that call to him on purpose. Jessica stiffened. Don't overthink it. I studied her. She had similar eyes to Alex's. I already had a hunch. Waving her off, I said, all right, go have your fun. I had planned to wait until things were more stable before making our relationship public, but Alex just couldn't keep it to himself. He was all smiles, dropping hints to everyone he met. Hey, guess what? And just when he had people hooked, he'd sigh dramatically. Never mind, it's probably not something singles would want to hear. When married people would share advice, he'd nod eagerly, like a model student. Take your time, sir. I'm taking notes. Could you send me this segment later? I want to review it thoroughly. His fan community was buzzing with strange vibes. Lately, Alex has been acting pretty cheap, huh? It was as if he had, how did you know I'm not single anymore, written all over his face. I never thought he'd be so openly infatuated. Even his fans started messaging me, asking me to give him a proper title. Of course, there were also extreme fans sending hateful, cursed messages. Once, Alex saw my phone, held me close, and asked coldly, does she send those often? I stretched lazily, she's just a kid, it'll be fine. He acted indifferent, giving a terse oh, but when I was asleep, he sneakily took my phone, squinting at the dim screen light, typing at lightning speed. The next morning, I woke up to my phone blowing up with notifications. My manager was astonished that the esteemed actor Alex Stone could be like this. Jessica messaged, please, sis, ask him to tone it down, will you? Aaron White, congrats on the official announcement. Well done. I was confused until my manager sent me a link. I clicked on it, and it was Alex's social media page. With his 80 million followers, he was going full force in my fan forums. When someone said I wasn't good enough for Alex, he'd reply, Chloe West could circle the globe 18 times with her worth. Alex Stone should be honored to have Chloe's affection. When someone commented on my looks, he'd respond, Chloe's a goddess, and you're what? A clown from the sky. He even entered our fan forum and responded under a fanfic post, okay, I'll update tomorrow. The fan had originally commented, please, author, this is so sweet. I'm begging for an update. And that's how Alex's alt account was exposed. It turned out to be a high-ranking moderator in my fan community, and the same for the Chloe Alex shipper group, having posted loads of fanfics. I scrolled through his old posts on that alt. On the day he was interviewed and asked about me, he wrote, that's not true. Chloe West acted wonderfully. I really want to work with her. The day we attended the awards show together, he wrote, over the moon. Wow, Chloe West looks amazing. There were so many entries, all filled with his unspoken words, his hidden affection. I wiped away a tear and posted, he got hacked. The comment section pretended to be gullible, all agreeing, right, like he'd write those flashy fanfics. Alex's management team needs to get their act together. When Alex woke up and saw all the DMS, he was so embarrassed he nearly buried himself in his bed. It was adorable. I couldn't help it. I petted him a few times. Alex's manager requested a private meeting with me, so we agreed to meet at a discreet cafe. He licked his lips, shifting awkwardly in his seat. I smiled. Mr. Foster, here to convince me to leave him again. You sent that text back then, trying to drive me away from Alex and suppress my career, threatening me that if I didn't break up with him, your company would blacklist him. There's always new talent in this industry. You said losing one won't matter. I couldn't gamble with his future. No, 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 he chuckled wryly. I'm here to apologize. After you left, he protested against our PR strategies by threatening to harm himself. He later signed a betting agreement with the company. If he made enough money in 2 years, we couldn't interfere with any of his decisions. He also made sure we couldn't do anything to you during those 2 years, Chloe. I'm sorry. I've been in this industry too long and underestimated the power of genuine feelings. After our conversation, I stayed in that cafe for the entire afternoon, until I was pulled into a warm embrace. Alex grumbled, Chloe, don't ever listen to him and leave me again. I chuckled, even Mr. Foster wished us a lifetime of happiness. Alex was stunned. I can't believe something decent actually came out of his mouth. After we got back together, we continued to focus on our careers. A year later, we stood at the same awards ceremony, where I was celebrated for winning Best Actress and Alex for achieving a grand slam of awards. Meeting at the pinnacle of our careers, I finally experienced Alex's jealousy firsthand. Once, my partner in a scene was an ex-boyfriend. When the drama aired, Alex, feeling jealous, grabbed my hands and raised them above my head, using his mouth to undo the buttons. At that moment, the heart-wrenching background music from the drama started playing. I bit my lip, weak moans accompanied the music, and I struggled to hold back the sounds in my throat. I tried to explain that nothing happened on set, but every time I spoke, he would thrust against me. He even suddenly, as if performing a magic trick, pulled out a stopwatch and asked, Chloe, how long is considered fast? I was so exhausted that I couldn't get out of bed.